Once upon a time in late 2019, a man named Rex Bear from the Leak Project arrived home from a long drive and sat in front of his computer to check his email. And this is what happened.
Hi, Rex Bear Leak Project. How the heck are you? I'm about to share with you a very disturbing, spooky email that was sent to me. I get over 100 emails a day usually, and I don't have a chance to go through all of them. Oftentimes, I'm sure I miss really good stories, so I'm going to be working harder on going through as many emails as I can. I'm even looking for an assistant to help me with that. But I want to talk to you about this one in particular, because this is connecting in the email, and I can't verify if this is real or not, so let's look at this as hearsay. Let's look at this as a story. However, if it is true, or if even a quarter of it is true, wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, ET connections, abductions, soul transference, past life regressions, a satanic cult, social media connected with this cult. Very bizarre and spooky. Now, I'm not going to name this website because I think it would give it more publicity, and I don't know if that's a good thing. I will say, once I read through this, you might have already heard of it. This website, or people from this website, have attempted to troll the channel before by leaving the links, a bunch of different names, and I stopped it because it was to the point of it wasn't just one per video, it was dozens, and it was as if there was a campaign designed specifically. The word Satan is in the website name, though. I will say that.
The name Satan is in the website address, and the website address is www.joyofsatan.org.
Now, let's get into the spooky stuff here. Now, if you are very sensitive to information that is presented that talks about ETs and satanic cults, etc., turn this off now, because this is pretty spooky. And I'll keep it mellow. I'm not going to say everything in the email. I do just want to let you know, though, that it is pretty deep. So here we go. And I want to thank the person once again for sending me this email. Dear Rex, I've been a viewer for a couple of years. I've tried to reach out to you twice in the past. I've been wanting to pass something on to you that you should be interested in. I've had spiritual contact and psychic events since I was a child. In the beginning, I thought that they were angels, but they became human extraterrestrials. And I found myself going through trauma-based soul and personality manipulation procedures carried out by the ETs. Excuse me. This situation involves my grandmother and several people with past life connections to me that are outside of my family. The ETs are dark-skinned, tall Nordics.
Okay, tall, dark-skinned Nordics is an oxymoron. So what did I mean? What I meant was that this race of extraterrestrials known as Hajians are in fact physiologically similar to the descriptions in a book titled The Blue Planet Project, which was left at a MUFON conference by a person claiming to be a government agent. Anyway, the descriptions in this book of the Nordic extraterrestrials are virtually identical to the Hajian race. The Hajians are 7'9". They do not have sweat glands, and their blood is copper-based, making it a light blue color. They have 5 digits, golden brown skin, and they have vertical slit eyes. The vertical slit eyes are designed to give them a wider field of view in brighter sunlight. Anyway, back to the video.
I have several short past life memories as well as frequent experiences with them. We can put this part of it on ice because I'll be doing some more videos this fall and don't expect you to waste your time with me. I have something bigger for you to check out. What I want you to take a look at is this. There is an internet-based cult which combines Satanism and a variety of other pagan religions centered around the Enki mythos. Here's the website. Then they give the website name. Once again, I'm not going to tell you that website name. Some of you probably already know. I think I gave enough information out there that if you do the research, you can find it for yourself, or just listen to this and let's look at it as a story. Let's look at it as a story. Let's look at it as a LARP, a live action role playing. Let's look at it as a story. Here, one of the sermons, they leave a link to one of the sermons. Then the email goes on to say, their theology is based on alien contact because several groups of ETs are using this internet cult and their social media groups to recruit targeted people such as myself.
Now, when I say recruit, I don't mean just simply using a website to attract people to join the e-group. I mean the extraterrestrials were using a type of remote, subconscious, psychic social engineering called subconscious psychic networking and programming. This is when they program someone to converge with another person and network together for social engineering purposes. Now just imagine, for 14 years, I've been trying to contact researchers to let them know that extraterrestrials are creating cults called virtual temple complexes to create people that are used for social engineering purposes. And not one of them in 14 years has contacted me back. Folks, this ties the ancient alien hypothesis directly to the modern day and the use of social media to create religions. Just imagine, if the researchers are keeping this from you, what else are they keeping from you?
Then the email goes on to say, this person goes on to say, I got involved with them back in 2005 and it turned my life upside down. When I arrived, I met others like myself and we began having group experiences. It was everything from astral sex to spiritual warfare. Sometimes we had conflict with other groups involved in angel magic.
All right, now pay close attention to what he just said. In the email that I sent him, I told him that there were other groups engaging in spiritual warfare with us that were part of angel magic cults. These are New Age Christian cults where people have contact with extraterrestrials using a New Age Christian facade, which is the exact same program as the Joy of Satan, only the only difference is that the theology, the theological facade that is completely inverted. So just ask yourself, based on that, how many groups are we really talking about? How many people are out there who are involved in this and aren't coming forward? Let's go on with the video.
You had a man on your show several times who claims to have met Enki. Well, Enki is a character being portrayed by multiple ETs, and that man isn't alone.
Now notice what I said. Multiple extraterrestrials are portraying a character known as Enki. And not just that. Also, multiple extraterrestrials were portraying characters of other gods as well. And there's more to it than that, folks. Look at all the people that have been channeling Enki over a long period of time, as well as these other pagan gods. Do you think they're talking to the same person each and every time? And even more importantly, what about all those people that claim to be Enki from a past life? Every single one of those people claim to have memories, or to be told by extraterrestrials that they were Enki. Many of these people claim that these memories are at the absolute truth because they went deep inside their self using specialized techniques. Because of their advanced state of consciousness, they were able to retrieve the absolute truth, proving to their self that they were in fact the real Enki. Now, of course, there are other people who may be getting screen memories, or maybe it's all screen memories. How do we really know? It's something to ponder as you're watching this, and it's something to ponder in future videos. So I'm going to let you get back to it.
As it turned out for me, the ETs that were interfering with me as a child were the same ones interacting in rituals and other forms of contact with, they're going to say the name, internet groups. They're running a program where targeted people are subconsciously pushed using thought forms into groups like, I'm going to say its name again, and then they weed through the arrivals. The targeted individuals are placed in programs, and the remainder is either run off with a negative spiritual experience or perhaps used later in other programs. These would involve the creation of social implants. In this case, the clergy, and possibly abductions, either in the present life or the next. I think there's a connection between some of the ritual initiates and occult practices and the common story that we hear that abductees actually agreed to their abductions at some point in the past, such as in a past life. And now the aliens are taking them against their will in their current life. That could mean that the pact with the devil has an entirely new meaning. There's also a connection between ETs and occult societies, going back to the beginning of the human program on this planet.
Those are some powerful words, and they're absolutely true. Theology has always been the psychological buffer necessary to initiate extraterrestrial contact in primitive cultures, and it's being utilized to this very day in the modern age of social media. And not just that, many of those ancient pacts between God and man, in fact, involved pacts between extraterrestrials and man and woman. And the truth is that for many, many lifetimes, these initiates and these rituals who had human souls that were bound to this planet, who were not starseeds, were also used in long-term abduction programs as well as breeding and hybridization programs for a very long time. This is the reality on this planet, and it's time to get the truth out.
Only now it involves social media as a means of spreading and organizing. And researchers never think to look in such oddball places. I've been dealing with ET interference for 45 years. I have a past life memory of being in a lab where I was placed into a large machine where I experienced my soul being removed and placed in a human fetus at the end of the first trimester. The memories are edited and their extraterrestrial human faces are covered with black boxes, and often the surrounding are hidden in a white haze. I refer to the lab as a white room memory because of the bright haze. That was the first memory of its kind that I've had since childhood. And that inner knowing that something was different about me was built upon by frequent experiences throughout my life, starting with that memory that served to groom and condition me into finding others like myself, and then finding out later that the entire thing was actually an experimental program that they are running. It's a form of active personality engineering, very similar, in fact, to what you hear with my labs.
What you've just heard should resonate with a large cross-section of this audience, because those of you who are starseeds will recognize that what I'm describing is a long-term process of self-discovery where extraterrestrials stage unusual events and experiences in your life which build upon the premise that you are different from the rest of the human population. What Rex also referred to in the email is something that at the time I was calling active personality engineering. In fact, what this was is personality rearrangement that was done after I was here. The problem with that is that it ruined my marriage by changing my personality, which is something that I talk about in my last video. So if you haven't seen it, check it out, and I do apologize for the audio quality because that had to do with extraterrestrial interference. The reason that I draw a correlation between myself and my labs is because through technology exchanges with extraterrestrials, the governments of the world and their black budget programs have been able to obtain mind control technology far superior than what they had before. They can also manipulate the consciousness of a person. In other words, they can manipulate the soul of a person. And this is the reason why there are so many similarities between my labs, abductees, and contactees.
The interesting thing is that ET, or that my ET contact, claims to be my sister and my spouse. I've had telepathic contact as well as limited out-of-body contact with her for 13 years.
Judging from Rex's expression in regard to my email and the subsequent admission that I was married to my sister in my ET existence, what you have there is a clashes of cultures. In this culture, incest is banned because it can cause genetic problems. But in a culture where you live eternally, your bodies are cloned, and there are no concerns about incest causing long-term genetic damage, and you live forever, there's absolutely no reason to restrict anyone from marrying their siblings, or any other member of their family. In fact, in many cases, extraterrestrials live so long that the family ties that they once had upon their birth are no longer even recognized.
I also had contact with a male prior to her. There are also 2 other ETs that come through which refer to themselves as life engineers. These are the ones who I've been dealing with since I was a child. The spousal contact began 2006, 1 year after my initiation in the name of the organization again. The experience, while being trauma-based in many aspects, has been therapeutic, which is actually good because if not, it would be an indication that something really bad was happening to me and others.
It was not until a couple of years later that I reached a point where the social experiment that I was involved in had ended. At that point, they began reparative therapy to help me deal with the trauma incurred by these experiences.
Then it goes on to say the bottom line is that from they have explained and shown to me is that what they are doing is waking me up inside an engineered lifetime, which allows them greater ability to do therapies that they wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
What he just described in my email is not only the awakening process involving a starseed awakening from an engineered lifetime experience in the Great Awakening. It also refers to a type of hybrid version of psychotherapy utilizing an engineered lifetime where family members and friends are brought through to meet the contactee or the starseed in the engineered lifetime experience for therapeutic purposes.
Apparently, since the human awareness has increased, this is now possible without someone getting burned at the stake. By bringing family members through and initiating contact with them under controlled conditions, they can solve personal problems between people before they return from their engineered lifetime and are reintroduced back into the ET culture that they originally came from. The ETs are immortal through cloning technology, but without childhood and the death experience and imbalance in the psychological makeup of a person takes place, causing a variety of mental illness, which includes personality disorders such as borderline personality disorder, which is the disorder that my ET contact suffers with. I don't expect you to comprehend this or even take it seriously. You likely get a lot of messages like this with far out stories. Regardless, whatever you do, visit that website and read all of it. It reads like Project Penguin meets that Aldebaran mystery. A stellar read nonetheless, even if you consider me crazy and this fiction. Wow. So, very interesting. Very interesting. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that those are possibilities, talking about the soul implantation, having those memories of your soul being implanted to the body, the 3rd trimester, the contracts, the ETs using social media? I think it's a very elaborate story. And then it goes, when it talks in the beginning about this person thought that they were angels, but they came out to be human extraterrestrials. I don't know what he means by human extraterrestrials.
Just to clear this little bit of confusion up, what I meant by human extraterrestrials is human-looking extraterrestrials. And earlier in the video, when I gave the description of what a Hajayan looks like, I forgot to mention they have thick black hair. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Very interesting. Now, I've heard a lot of these bits and pieces, what this person's talking about in this email for years. I can go back to over 10 years ago reading stuff like this. So, that being said, it can confirm or help confirm, or it can be, or somebody could use that and say, no, it's the opposite. This person read all of this and they made it their own story. So, what I am doing is reading this as a story, and I want to get your opinions on it. And definitely interesting some of the the comments made about if a ET can live forever. I thought this was really interesting when this person says an ET can live or they live forever, but they don't have childhoods. And that's definitely going to have an effect on the personality versus somebody or a being that does have a childhood. Definitely that's interesting to think about.
Well, Rex, you asked everybody for their thoughts. And my thoughts are, why in the hell didn't you put me on the show? Why didn't you interview me? That's something that everyone should be asking you right now. Even going back 3 years, even though it's old, why haven't you put me on? And anyway, I wanted to also say that it's not just because ETs who clone their bodies and live in perpetual youth don't have childhoods, and that's not the only reason why we come here in Engineered Lifetimes. We also come here to volunteer, to be agents of change during times of strife, during times of social upheaval, and of course during this period of time known as the Great Awakening. We also come here because, and it's not just because of cloning, because there are races out there that go through a normal life cycle. They may stave off aging, they may age slower, they may not age at all, but their bodies do wear out and they do go through the birth process as well as the childhood and adolescent stage. But even in those cases, still mental illness can set in, and it's been determined that the most effective, most thorough way to rearrange or to re-engineer someone's personality for the better is to put them in an engineered lifetime experience inside a planetary consciousness simulation, inside an engineered lifetime, just like most of you are right now. Now let's go and look at video 2, where we're going to examine what happened to Rex after he read this email.
Hey everybody, Rex Bear Leak Project. How the heck are you? I wanted to share with you a very spooky, eerie dream that I had last night, actually this morning, because I woke up this morning remembering it. And it was so vivid that I needed to go back in my mind and cross-reference the memories to confirm it was a dream. I mean, it was that real. So what makes it even more spooky and bizarre is I get an email that I read last night talking about somebody that claims to have been not only abducted multiple times by ETs, but also a part of this satanic cult. And this person tells me about remembering their soul being transferred to different bodies and manipulation via social media of extraterrestrials, remembering these extraterrestrials, but when they have these visions, they remember this white haze and the ETs having a black box around their heads. This person also explains them as dark-skinned Nordics. Very interesting to say the least, but the connections this person makes to a satanic cult are also quite interesting. And then in the dream, let me share this dream with you now real quick. This is where it gets just very bizarre. But I want to talk about this dream. So in the dream, so vivid, man. It's just wild how vivid it was. I'm in the dream and somebody's like taking me on a tour in this large facility. It reminds me of a campus, and these are all people. They look like they're in their early 20s, late 20s, early 30s. A lot of younger people. Yeah, some people in their 40s maybe, but most of the people that I saw look like they're in their 20s and 30s. And just, dressed nice, dressed appropriate, nothing out of line. Everybody that I met seemed nice and friendly and just somebody that you would meet at a grocery store, or if you're at the library, or if you're getting some fuel at a gas station, or just going out in public, just normal people. And all these people seem so excited and so happy. And I remember bits and pieces going through rooms and hallways and them showing me around and introducing me to people, and everything seemed great. And then I remember, this is where it gets just, oh man, I'm getting spooked out just thinking about it. So then we're in this auditorium, and I'm just observing like the hallway that connects to the auditorium. I'm there kind of in the doorway watching all these people, and they're up there and they're happy and they're all standing up, and they just kept saying the same thing over and over. Satan, 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 and just kept saying it and saying it and saying it and saying it. And I was like, wow, they keep saying Satan. What is going on? And then I remember just listening to this going, wow, this is far out. I got to get out of here. So I just left. And then, I remember this dream this morning as I'm, I don't know, maybe within the first few minutes, I'm thinking about it, and then I'm getting some coffee, and I'm thinking about it even more, and the memories are coming back, and I start thinking to myself, this dream must have been triggered by that email that I read last night. Now go back and watch the last podcast that I just did, where I was talking about this email, and this person sends me their personal experiences and the story. They talk about being connected to this cult of this satanic cult and ET manipulation. And then, as I talked to you before, about what they remember about these ETs. And then I got this dream. So it made me think about a couple years ago when this was during the elections, and I had this dream about Hillary Clinton, where she was very nice. She was she was trying to she even I met her. I met Bill Clinton. They were both nice. Bill wasn't that friendly with me though, and I remember she wanted to ask me some questions, and I did a podcast on it. You can watch the podcast, and so we go in this car, and she's talking to me all nice and asking me questions, and I remember she put her hand on my leg or on my shoulder in the dream or something like that, and it was it was like she was trying to get information out of me. She was asking me all these questions, like they were trying to pry information out of me. And when I had that dream, it was very similar to a dream that a friend of mine that has also been on the show has had, but it wasn't with her. It was with somebody else that was a part of her campaign, and it was a very similar dream. So I started questioning the possibility of, is there some type of dream manipulation that can be done at maybe a mental level? Could people manipulate and tap into others' dreams via mind? And now I'm taking it to the next level, and I'm wondering if there is a possibility that they can use technologies and algos and AI, synthetic intelligence, to manipulate dreams. So instead of having to have somebody that's very good at manipulating minds via thought, some type of mage or a true magician, or somebody that just uses their mind. I mean, you've read plenty about remote viewing and probably met people that do remote viewing. It is very real. That is the power of the mind. Well, then you've seen the film Men Who Stare at Goats. I've interviewed people that film was partially based off of, where they were able to stop computers with their minds. The mind is extremely powerful, especially if you know how to use it.
Well, all I have to say to that question is yes, we can manipulate dreams, Rex, and we manipulated your dreams. So, what Rex is talking about is the use of technology or mind power to manipulate the dreams of those inside of a planetary consciousness simulation, those of which who are bound to five senses. Now, this is done through technology, and it can be done through sheer mind power alone. In extraterrestrial cultures, where people sleep, it is customary and fun to enter each other's dreams. It can be done organically and with technology, and in Rex's case, they use technology to implant a dreamscape. Now, if you think about it, contactees or starseeds report over the course of their lives that they've had lucid dreams, as well as what appear to be implanted dreamscapes that are often done to teach people a lesson or to give them the indication that something is different about them, like I spoke about earlier in this video. Now let's go and take a look at what Rex does next. In the next video segment, Rex interviews Elizabeth April on his show, and he poses the $6 million question to her, which is, was this dream truly an implanted dreamscape, or was it a product of my subconscious? Let's find out what happens.
So speaking of dreams, and one of the things that we were going to talk about, and I'm glad you brought up dreams, is that very vivid dream that I had a few nights ago. So vivid, in fact, that when I woke up, I had to cross-reference my memory banks. It was like, did this actually happen, or was this a dream? Okay, yes, this was a dream. And did you hear that podcast that I did?
No, I don't think so. Where you explain the dream? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I get an email from somebody that was a part of a satanic cult. And they are basically, they think they don't have a lot of time left, and they're sharing very personal information with me. And what I can talk about, I've already talked about on previous podcasts, was just saying that this satanic cult that's on the web gets people attracted to it and uses different social media systems to condition the masses. And very, very dark stuff underneath that this person has brought bits and pieces up. But anyway, so I read the email, and that night I go to sleep, and in the morning I wake up, and the dream that I had was this person was showing me around this like college, this university, and they're showing me, and I'm meeting people, and everybody's nice, and they all seem to be in their, they're in their 20s, 30s, maybe a few people in their 40s, but most people were younger, and just looked like real nice, happy, healthy people, and go-lucky people. Things were good. It introduced me to a bunch of people, and then I remember, oh man, I'm getting freaked out just thinking about this. We go into the this auditorium, this big auditorium, this huge auditorium, and everybody's in there, and they're all, the energy, like, can you see the hair like standing up on my arm right now? They're yelling, Satan, 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 and they were just going off, and I was like, whoa, and they're all yelling, and like the vibe was just, I'm like, I got to get out of here. I'll see y'all later. So I took off, but yeah, they just kept saying, Satan, 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 Satan. It kind of spooked me out. I'll tell you, like now I'm getting kind of spooked out thinking about it again. It reminded me of like a dream that I had before the elections where, Hillary, she came and paid me a visit, and she was all nice and friendly, and she's like, oh yeah, so who are you voting for? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And Bill was pissed. But anyway, so yeah, you said we were going to talk about that. I'm glad I remembered that because that freaked me out.
Absolutely. So what's your interpretation of that dream?
My interpretation of the dream is that I was triggered by that email, combined with recently getting back from the Northwest and feeling like there was this giant, dark, powerful force out there that was like the Stranger Things monster on steroids that was feeding off of the Hanford nuclear site, but the energy was permeating all the way to the Northwest. I think that combined with the email triggered the dream, but then I started to think to myself, could it have been like a targeted, were there people out there that were attempting to get my attention? Right. So they were kind of tapping in and manipulating me, because dreamscapes are very real.
So let's just check out this dream of yours, and let's just see, what they have to say. And just remind me again, what was the dream again? Just remind me.
Like the type of dream where I was getting walked around in this auditorium, and then, in the university essentially, then in the auditorium, everybody started chanting Satan, and it's like, I thought they were all going to start floating because the energy was so intense.
And you walked out, and that's it? You just woke up from that?
Well, okay, so I remember then, Satan, 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 and I'm like, whoa, man, I got to go. I'll see you guys later. And I just played it off, and I was all, I got to get out of here. And I took off, and then next thing I know, I woke up. That's the last I remember. So, yeah.
Okay, let's take a look here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. I do want to confirm with you that it was a projection. It was a dreamscape. Okay, they created that scene for you, and it was so interesting. you allowed these beings, okay, these entities, I don't know which energies, okay, to come in and kind of create that dreamscape because you opened up a portal in just contemplating and thinking about that and opening up. That's okay, because ultimately they can't override our free will. They can't physically harm us. You know, they can manipulate us, but they can't make choices for us, and they can't destroy our lives. They just can't intervene like that, but they can try on the outside to freak us out. So I asked your spirit guides, you know, why they came in, why they set that dreamscape up. And they said that it was basically to elicit fear in you and to make you question individuals who are meant to be like individuals in your life who you're supposed to trust. They wanted to skew your perception of trust altogether. And that was kind of the point of it, is like, hey, you know, this person may look like a nice person, but they may on the back end be quite dark, you know, or worshiping Satan or whatever, right? And so that was supposed to kind of skew or manipulate your idea or perception of, you know, of the awakening, and basically elicit more fear. Now, the thing is, your spirit guide said, this is also something that you contracted. I believe that every interaction with a dark force or low vibrational energy, we contract in our life to bring about the binary and to understand the light versus the dark. And so your guide said, you have two ways to perceive this. You have two ways to take this. One, of course, is, oh no, you know, should I really be worried? Are there way more Satan worshipers out there? Like, you know, is society getting really dark? Right? Are you going to feed into that fear? Or on the other end, are you going to be like, whoa, I'm glad that the world isn't like that, and I'm so excited that I can be a part of changing that frequency and shifting people and individuals away from, you know, worshiping Satan or being more indoctrinated by an idea or belief system that isn't in the highest vibration. So you have a choice to make, of course, everyone does, with this information. You can Google all of the things out there. You can Google the reptilian agenda and David Icke and, you know, all these other things, this information. You can Google all of that, and you can really succumb to the fear and say, oh no, 5G and chemtrails and, you know, they're frying our brains and they're brainwashing us every moment. Well, what's going to happen? You're going to attract that in your life. Or you can say, wow, I can't believe the world could be like that. It's time to raise my vibration so that I don't have to feed into the wickedness of the current state of the world, right? So we all have a choice to make in love or fear.
Right. We always have a choice, and it's that's the beauty of creation, is choice. And I also so let me kind of clarify my feelings. As much as it's kind of spooky, when I was in the dream, I wasn't scared at all. Like, I just was like, you know, it's like, okay, I got to get out of here now. When the chanting started, but now that I go back and I think about it, it's kind of scary, because I'm thinking to myself, is an email enough to trigger me to have that type of dream and connect me with other people? But then at the same time, I almost wonder, like, it's not a fear of the devil or a fear of Satan worshiping or anything like that. It's more of like, wow, that's pretty powerful. I mean, that's some serious technology or mind power to be able to literally jump into somebody's dream like that. And I'm wondering also if it was like a way for them to say, hey, man, come on, join the club. And now that I think about it, I'm thinking it was kind of like, hey, man, come on, join us. We're cool. We're young. We're hip. You know, we're all doing good. We're, you know, and I was like, wait a second. I just don't think this is for me. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Wow. That's you brought up some great points, Elizabeth.
Rex is absolutely right. It is some very powerful technology. Rex, welcome to the planetary consciousness simulation. You're in an engineered lifetime, sir, and you're a starseed. And 3 years ago, you had a choice, and you failed because you succumbed to fear. But there's always a second chance. So, since you're not answering my emails, I implore every one of my subscribers to take this video and send it to Rex and ask him, please put this guy on, because he has a lot to say that people have not heard yet, and it's about time. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. There's more videos to come. Make sure you love one another, and I'll see you soon. Take care.